Oh, wow. That's loud.
I know it always does that.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't used to, right? So it used to. Somebody must have recorded somebody else that didn't know they were being recorded. So now it
Yeah.
screams at you that you're being recorded.
Mm.
Okay, let's start over. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated, where today I'm just thrilled to death to be joined by actor, writer, Sloane Morgan Siegel. So welcome, Sloane.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
We spent the last 10 minutes off camera admiring your nerd collection behind you.
Thank you. I have hundreds, probably 1,000 different comic books and trades and all
Yeah,
sorts of cool stuff. So like
that's
I've been collecting my
exciting.
whole life.
So I spent the 80s and 90s running comic book stores. That's how I put myself through school. So
Oh, really? Cool,
yeah,
cool.
and Marvel declared bankruptcy in '96, and
Isn't
I
that why
thought it
they
was over.
sold? Isn't that why they sold
It
their
is.
character rights to
Yeah,
Fox and
that's where
NBC?
everything got jacked up.
Yeah, it's when they had to keep going, so they had to sell the
I had to keep
rights.
going, and I thought
Yeah.
it was over. I was like, comic books are done. So I closed down the stores, and then of course they came back stronger than ever. It took
Hmm.
them a little while.
And now it's like the centerpiece of pretty much all pop culture right now. Is
Oh
like
yeah,
it's centered around the MCU or what comic book's going to be adapted next and what merchandise you can sell off of that and what reboots and remakes and reimaginings and reinterpretations. Like it's amazing how much it has completely dominated media.
yeah.
You know.
It's it's a great time to be nerdy.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's awesome. See, it's cool to be a nerd now. So when I was growing up, it was like kind of cool to be a nerd.
That's
So
right.
I was left alone. But like
Yeah.
now it's like really
It was
cool.
it was not cool when I was growing up. People would
I'm
look at you
sorry.
like you do what? What are you doing with
Yeah.
your life?
I mean, I never cared anyway. I mean, I've always just been like, I'm just a
Yeah,
diehard nerd. So I'm just like,
you
I'm
can't beat that.
rambling to everybody I can about comic books and D&D and Pokemon and Doctor Who and like everything I can.
Yeah, you can't beat that. You
Mhm.
can't beat that. So I saw that you spent time in West Virginia.
I grew up in West Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're located in St. Albans, West Virginia, which
Really?
is just outside of Charleston, and I had no idea that
I,
you grew up
I I
over
grew
there.
up right by Charleston. I grew up in Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, right by Hagerstown, Maryland.
yeah. So
Yeah,
Harper's
yeah,
Ferry's up there.
yeah, Harper's Ferry. Yeah, wow,
Yeah.
that's so crazy. I haven't seen. Wow, I pulled an Owen Wilson. But no, that's so cool. I haven't
Yeah.
met anyone. I mean, I've met a few people, but very, very, very few, and very rarely do I meet people from that area that make it, out here or do something in this industry. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
I
it is
know.
such a
That's why I was so
rare
excited when
breed.
I saw you were, you had grown up here.
Yeah, I was actually, fun fact, the Grand Apple Harvest Festival?
Yeah, of course.
I was the grand marshal of that in, I think it was 2014. And then before that, in like 2008, I was with my dance studio. I
Yeah.
was holding the flag, holding the banner for my dance studio in the parade.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
it's really funny.
I mean, that's terrific. Yeah, and I always say that, we try to find people that grew up here or that have some connection with West Virginia for the podcast, and there's just not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a big one. I saw that and I was like, ooh, I had no idea.
Well, I'm really glad we could be introduced. It's
Yeah,
fun to
yeah,
see
that's a
people
big
from where you're
deal.
from. It's I knew I recognized your accent too. I was hearing your
Yeah,
accent. I was like, that sounds like
you've
home.
heard this before.
Oh yeah, my parents talk like you. My friends talk like you. I sometimes talk like you.
See, that's what we need. There's no reason that you couldn't play a superhero from West Virginia.
Yeah, right.
No.
Is there one? I actually don't know if there's a superhero
The
from West
only
Virginia.
one, now there probably is now, but when I was growing up, the only connection we had to a superhero was Rom, the Space Knight. I don't know if you've
Really?
ever heard of Rom,
No.
but
Yeah, I've
he
heard of
was,
Rom.
yeah, so supposedly, now he wasn't from West Virginia, but when he came from wherever he came from, he landed in a fictional town that was located in West Virginia.
That's so cool. I mean, the closest I always got was I know. So my sister lived in Baltimore for a while, so I spent a lot of
Yeah,
time up there. I love going to the aquarium and everything. And Guy Gardner's from Baltimore, so
that's
that's why
right.
for the longest time Guy Gardner was my favorite lantern. I was like, hey, it's where I'm from.
Have you read the like Justice League International books? You know that
I
Keith
don't think
Giffen
I
did.
is that the one with that's not the one with Adam Strange on the team, right?
No,
Martian
it's
Manhunter.
they were kind of it was a humorous take on the
Okay.
Justice League. So it had like Guy Gardner, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold.
Oh no, I haven't read that one.
Yeah,
No.
you need to check those out because
Okay, yeah.
it's
Well,
worth
I
it.
love all of those characters, so
Yeah.
I would love to
Well, and
check that out. Yeah.
it's Guy Gardner. They're always picking on Batman because he's like the straight guy, and everybody
Yeah.
else is kind of a humorous caricature.
Oh
So
yeah.
he's always getting upset because everybody's just they're not living up to the league standards. So there's
Yeah.
always there's a great scene or a great panel in one of the comics where Batman knocks out Guy Gardner. Just
Everyone
toe
knocks out
tap.
Guy. At
I
some
know.
point or another, everyone's knocked out Guy. Like
He was just
it always
misunderstood.
happens. Yeah, right.
So okay, so let's start here. Um, how did you get into the entertainment business? Because I know you started out and you did some singing, you danced some,
Yeah,
and then
I got into the industry because of I mentioned my dance studio.
yeah,
We went to the Monsters of Hip Hop in DC, the competition, and yeah, you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
I do know what you're talking about.
And so we went there, and I ranked pretty well. It was really cool because I was really young, and
Yeah.
one of the choreographers, judges, slash choreographer, came up to me and my father and said, hey, you can dance. You got a weird look. You should start acting. I'm like, all right, why not? I mean, I was pretty.
That's always what you want to
energetic.
hear.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're strange looking, you tend to turn a few heads.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Well,
I
you're
didn't really.
unique. You got to have a
Yeah,
unique look.
and I didn't really look like anyone where I grew up. I mean, I don't know. I've just always looked a little strange. So anyway, I went to an acting school. Oh no, I'm skipping a step. I'm sorry. My mom heard a thing on the radio, which
Yeah.
is crazy. So I started acting. That piqued my interest. And then my mom heard a thing on the radio that should have been a scam. I always say my life should have been a scam because it was like, bring your kid down to Rockville, Virginia, and have them audition
Right.
for this thing. And so we drove down 3 hours. I had a choice, soccer practice or whatever
Okay.
this might be. So I took it. My mom drove me. I auditioned. I got a scholarship into the school for like 6 months, like not even knowing what I'm doing. Like it's kind of like just complete dumb luck again and again and again.
Yeah.
But then I got sent to a competition. They liked me so much they made me the 13th member of the 12-person team to go to Vegas for a competition. And so then I go there, and then I get a manager, and then they tell me to go to LA,
That's awesome.
and I get it's a big snowball effect. But it was a pretty strange race to get to LA. And then once I got here, it was just grinding until
That's right.
you get the right thing that gets you to the next thing that gets you to a good thing that gets you to the next thing that's the right thing.
Well, did you do theater at all in school
I
before
did.
that?
I did some theater, but I was really small. I was really small. I was really young,
Yeah.
young and
Yeah.
small. And so I did some theater, but it didn't. I don't know. I don't really count it. I count
Right.
it as like it got me excited. And so
That's
then when
right.
I got here, I did some theater. Yeah, I did some theater. I work with the Blank Theater. I do the Young Playwrights Festival every year.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing it right now. It's a spectacular festival for a spectacular cause, and like I really love everyone that's involved. So definitely you should check out the Young Playwrights Festival if you haven't.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So and that's in LA?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they send out submissions all over the country for kids, between I might be botching the ages, but it's like 12 to 21, and they
Right.
submit plays, and they have these judges go through them, and they pick the best 12, and they put them on with a professional crew and cast and director
Wow.
for like 4 weeks or so, and
That's
it's
terrific.
really cool to see these kids like get their stories made, and they have final say, which is the coolest part. Is they have final say about the play. So if anything needs to be changed, it's their say, and so they get like a full experience. And I just think that's such a great thing because a lot of the youth today doesn't get supported as far as their creative ideas,
That's
or
right.
like they aren't told from a young age that you can do this or you can do that. I mean, they're told, hey, get through school and then worry about it. But to actually get kids in front of what they want to be doing now, I think
Right.
I think that's exactly where kids need to be is doing what they want to do and figure out what they're going to do, while they're learning.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's terrific, and what a great cause because that's exactly what we should be doing, is encouraging.
And they're really good shows as well. So
Yeah,
they're genuinely great.
yeah. That I love that. I love that. So, what was your once you got out to LA? What was your first paying job?
My first paid job. So my very first paid job, I showed up, and the same night my dad was on like LA casting, and he found a lookalike role, and I looked like this kid, and so he submitted me at like 10 p.m. and then at like 11 p.m. they booked me to show up the next day at 6 a.m. in Topanga Canyon or something, and I showed up. And I got like, I don't know, normal 1 day, not non-union rate or something
Yeah.
like that. And they gave me a line, so I became SAG eligible day one. See
Oh,
what
it's
I mean? Like, it's
amazing.
just one random thing after another. And I became SAG eligible day one because I turned around, I got a dramatic close up, and I got to say, okay. And then I left, and that was it. And that was 1 day of work, SAG eligible. And I kept moving.
I mean, that's the dream, right?
Yeah. I mean, we thought like, hey, this is gonna be easy, and then it was not. I mean, it got significantly harder, as time went on, and like, it's audition after audition, and you meet a lot of people. I mean, I'm not someone that grew up in the industry. I don't have any family in the
Right.
industry. I don't know anybody in any department, any realm of this world. This is a new realm to me. I've been transported from Midgard to a far off land, and like I don't know the language, I don't know anyone. And so it's been incredibly difficult, like establishing myself, not
Right.
just in the industry, but in the community, like getting to know people. I mean, I didn't really have friends until I was like, 14, and I came here when I was 10. It's really difficult when you don't know anybody, when you're just a
That's
kid
right.
from West Virginia, like,
Yeah.
and so over the years, I have been able to establish those friendships and connections, and work relationships, and jobs, and like I understand the area and the industry and the lingo, and I think that was the question. I totally veered off there. Sorry about that.
Well, I mean, that's not an easy transition either. So, I mean, transitioning from a young age into more adult roles, I mean, that's not easy either.
No, and I'm in the process of doing that now because I'm 20, but I look 12 when I don't have facial hair on. I haven't shaved in a few days. I only shave when it's absolutely necessary because I
Yeah.
grow it. Like, they had to shave me twice every day on set. When I was playing a 15-year-old, but yeah, I'll look young for a really long time. So I'll probably still be dealing with that transition, into my late 20s.
Yeah, but that's as you get older, that's going to be an advantage.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is that like I look young, but I'm not old enough to look young enough to play the roles that are like on Riverdale. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
right.
because they look 30, but they're playing younger.
They're playing younger. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so strange, and then everything's obviously constantly changing, and you never know. But it is definitely a challenge to transition to those more adult roles. I'm just now going out for like 20-year-olds, like when I don't shave for a month or so.
So does it help once you get in? Of course, a lot of that stuff's done virtually now, but once you get your auditions out there, does it help you having those younger, lead roles that you've had, or is it a detriment
You mean
because
like
they kind of look at you as younger?
You mean like the previous roles?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of both. I mean, because obviously whoever knows you sees you as you, and so
Right.
whatever they've worked with you on, they see you as like, oh, you're still Gordimer, you're still Dwight. Like it can go that way, but I don't think that really matters because no one like cares as soon as you're done with a job. It doesn't matter if it was your like grand finale of like the greatest thing you've ever done. As soon as it's over with, unless you're a household name, nobody cares. So
That's right.
you're just constantly proving yourself over and over and over again. So there's a little bit of security in the fact that your previous achievements don't really mean anything, but it's also sad because your previous achievements don't really mean anything.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, a resume is a resume, but if you're not right for the role, they're not going to book you. Unless you're, Chris Pratt or Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
Like,
well, there was a time when Chris Pratt was struggling too.
Yeah. Everyone's had their their trials and tribulations, and
That's right.
it's definitely been a journey, and it'll continue to be one, because I've been doing this now 13 years,
Yeah, that's
and
amazing. That's
but
amazing that
there are
you're so
people who've been
young
doing it way
now
longer, you know.
and you've been
Yeah.
doing it for so long. I mean, you're a vet now.
Yeah, and well, it's funny. It's like I get on a set now, and I'm like, I feel old, like, because I've been a series regular twice now on a show for 2.5 seasons, and well, 2.5. It was 3 seasons, but they made it 1 season. It was like 13
Right.
to 26. So that, and then 5 seasons, and then obviously stuff in between. So it's like I feel like I've been doing this a really long time.
Yeah.
And so when I get on something new, I'm like, oh, how are you, youngsters? You know, but I'm still so young, you know.
I know it's kind of amazing. I talked to one of our good friends is Ben Coldike, who you've worked with, that played your dad, I think, right?
Oh my
On
God, yeah, Ben. I was
yeah,
like, why do I know that name? I'm better with faces.
yeah.
No, yeah, Ben played my dad in Gordimer. He was great. I had a lot of really fun scenes with him.
Yeah, well, that's
pretty
what
much.
he's getting ready to come back on the show, and I told him that we were getting ready to have you on, and he was very complimentary. He said professional, funny, definitely going to be seeing you in bigger and better things. He was very impressed
That's so
with you.
sweet. He's such a
Yeah,
good guy. Man, I love when I get to see people again that I haven't seen in so long, because I haven't seen him
yeah,
since Gordimer.
yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. He played my dad. You know, it's like family, literally. You know.
I mean, that has to be kind of. I know it's just an acting role, but when you play a family member with somebody, it's got to kind of make a little bit of a bond. So when you run into them later, it's almost like running into a cousin or something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
I've kept in touch with Robin Lively, who played my mom on
yeah,
Gordimer. I mean, we talk every now and then, you know, not as much as we used to, because I mean, our paths go in so many directions. But you know, when I call her up or when I see her again, it's like we never stop talking, you know. And she was very motherly to me, and very kind, and a very good friend. And her husband Bart Johnson was also on the show, and so we're really good friends with him. And his brother Adam
yeah,
works with a bunch of people that I work with too. So it's like it's just your family just branches out. You just become.
yeah,
I know it's the most cliche thing in the world to say you become family with your crew and your cast, but you really do. You spend that much time with people, you're either going to hate them or love them, and there's
yeah.
nothing in between. Like you don't just fade away. Like you either love these people to the day you die, or you have a grudge that will be undying and unyielding, and will be a vendetta for one day to be reaped upon. But
That's right.
luckily I don't have any of those. So.
That's right. That's right. You don't want those. You don't
No,
want
no,
those.
but I mean, I understand when people have these major falling outs on sets.
Yeah.
You know, like when cast members or crew members or director, when they have quote unquote creative differences. I know what that means now. You know, like it it's sad, but it's the environment for that kind of thing to occur if you're
Right.
not compatible as individuals. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you're going to run into that, which is where being a professional comes in handy. But I think as a fan and as an audience, it's difficult. Like we pick up very easily when cast members aren't getting along. Like if there's not that chemistry there, you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of tell. I
Oh,
mean,
you
maybe
notice it, yeah.
you kind of notice. It's not like anything out in the open, but you just get that feeling that I don't know. It's just not quite working right.
Yeah, there's just something off about it, you know.
Yeah.
But and like, it happens, you know. But that's the thing, is like you want to keep it all professional, and you want to keep it as work oriented as possible.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing when your job is to feel things, you
Right.
start to feel more things than you're paid to feel, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
It does.
Because you have your personal feelings, you have your character's feelings. If you're method, you have both, and like it leaves so much room for human error, and
Yeah.
so much room for spontaneous miracles, as far as like you could meet your best friend. My best friend in the whole world, I met him when we were 12.
Yeah.
We played the same person on a show called Partners on CBS that lasted about 7
I
episodes.
remember Partners.
Yeah, I got to work with Brandon Routh, who was Superman, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Anyway, so he was young. Wait, did you say you remember Partners?
I remember Partners. It
You
didn't
do?
last very long.
No, it didn't. I played the younger version of David Krumholtz.
Yeah, I
That's so
remember
funny.
that. Well, now,
Yeah.
because when I was, I was looking at your stuff, I was like, well, I know that show. I know that
Yeah.
show. I didn't remember that you were in it until I saw that you were in it, and
They
I was like,
curled
I
my
remember.
hair.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's so funny because the younger version of me, I was the younger version of him, and then the younger version of me was my friend David Bloom, and we apparently hated each other when we first met because I was like, I talked so much, and he was
yeah,
just like, oh brother, and then
yeah,
we didn't talk for years, and then he booked a role on Gordimer years later, like 2 years later, when I was
nice.
14.
Yeah,
And we just started hanging out. We became best friends, and then after that, we did a play together at the Young Playwrights Festival. We played
yeah,
opposite each other. We got to beat each other up on stage. It was hilarious. And then what was it? We did something else together. Oh yeah, we worked on the Goldbergs together.
yeah.
And
I
we
was going to ask you about the
yeah
Goldbergs because I was like, weren't you on the Spaceballs one?
yeah I was, which is perfect for me. I mean, my dad raised me on Mel Brooks movies, so like
Of
I've seen
course.
Spaceballs and Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein. I mean, Monty Python as well. I
Yeah,
love Monty Python. Those are my favorites. So.
yeah. That's Monty. Holy Grail is
Oh yeah, the
is
Holy Grail. Yeah.
is yeah one of the best movies ever. I think
I
that's
routinely rewatch that and The Meaning of Life.
Meaning in Life is hilarious too. We had those movies when I was in college, and of course it was we had a VCR back then, but we had those were just playing nonstop. It didn't matter if anybody was there. When somebody walked through the room, they would just re-push the tape in, so it was
Well,
always
the thing
on.
about it is like you can pop in at any point in those films and you can
Yeah,
still
you don't
enjoy
have to
it.
watch all of it. It's still
Yeah,
hilarious.
every moment is beautiful. I mean, you like there is no excess. Like every single line is quotable. It's funny. I
Yeah.
mean, I really miss that nowadays from like modern film
Oh,
and
I do too.
television. Like
Yeah.
I miss those things where you could pop in at literally any second and have like still be able to enjoy it and
Yeah.
have lines that are original and you can quote. I mean, obviously the English language is like the same sand in a sandbox. You can push it around a million different directions, but it's the same
That's
sand in the same sandbox. You can make things out of it. It's just like words are words, but there's only so many words. So at
That's
this
right.
point,
That's right.
everyone's pretty much put them in every order. It's just. But so I hope that new things can still be made and everything. But yeah, I miss that. I miss being able to quote stuff from any point in the movie.
I love quotable movies. Like I love Holy Grail is one of my favorites. Tombstone. I don't know if you've watched that one, but it's very
I have
quotable.
not watched Tombstone
Oh, you need to
actually.
watch that one if you like
Yeah.
westerns, because it's
Okay. I
everything
like
in it is
everything.
quotable. Yeah.
Everything but rom-coms. I know people will hate me for that, but I can't stand rom-coms, man. I can't do it.
You know that now you're going to get casted in one.
You know what? Awesome. Then I'll like rom-coms. Until then, can't stand them.
So if I remember right, and I could be wrong, but Robin Lively played your mom, and
Yes.
it wasn't. I mean, she was like a teenage actor.
Yeah, she was in Teen Witch. She was Teen Witch.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought. I know that she's. So I mean, how was that
Oh,
working?
she was in Karate Kid 3 too. I remember that. Yeah.
Yes, Karate Kid 3. That was the one I was thinking of. I mean, what was that like working with somebody that's actually been through it? That transition from going from a kid actor to an adult actor.
Oh,
I mean, she's
it's
done
cool.
pretty
I mean,
well.
they certainly have advice for you that you
Yeah.
need to hear. Um, Everyone along the way has some kind of wisdom, whether they're more or less experienced than you. Everyone has their own wisdom to depart upon you, and it's your choice whether to listen to them or not. I always listen, but
Yeah.
someone who's definitely been through it already has much wisdom to disperse, and so I definitely absorbed all of that.
Because it's
But
not, most of the time, kid actors, they don't make that transition.
yeah,
They just
it's
kind of
difficult.
peter out.
Mhm. Or it's not even just that. It's like that's putting it really lightly. Like it destroys a kid, man.
That's right.
Acting is
That's right.
like it really messes with a kid's head. I mean, as someone who has been like dramatically messed with
Yeah.
mentally as far as like auditions and like the type of reward system you instill in a young brain when
Yeah.
it comes to acting about like nothing is good enough until you book something, and yet it's so rare when you actually do book something, and some kids
Yeah.
never book anything, and then they are left with this permanently damaging mindset of like
Right.
self-worth that is like so far below what it should be. You know,
Yeah.
so like it's not that
Yeah.
the kid actors peter out, it's that they
Well,
merely like they can't handle it, and that's okay. It's just like I've decided like 2 times now I've almost quit. Like I've almost just been like, I can't
really?
take this anymore. I can't do this. It's killing me. Like, and it does. And it's also a very sad thing to say, but it does kill some of us. You know,
Yeah.
like there's so many of us that like can't handle either the fame or can't handle the work, can't handle the rejection, can't handle a lot of it, you know.
Yeah.
And like I've been okay, but there's been some really rough points. Like I got the biggest role of my life. And the day before filming, they called me and said they recast me. And like, but they didn't do it, and like it was horribly unprofessional in the way that it happened. And I was hurt.
Was it
And
a Marvel movie?
No, no. But no, it just like, you know, even the writers and the directors and the producers all apologized to me. Like they were like, "We're so
what
sorry."
happened?
Like, this network.
Yeah.
Network makes the final decision, and you know,
that's got to be hard though.
That's it. Oh, it was. I mean, I just like everything just felt wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like I woke up the next day and it just didn't feel right. It felt like I should be doing something else, which obviously I should have. But like, I got recast for, I would say, what is called political reasons that had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And so, but you don't understand that when you're a young actor because
That's
you
right.
think it's your fault. And so I sat in my room for 3 days and I didn't even move. And I was just like, what did I do? You know, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
And like, it took me a while to really understand that, like, I didn't do anything. I did my job. I did the best. I still booked the role. It's not like they fired me for being impossible to work with.
That's right.
Know?
Yeah.
But it was tough, you know? And then another one was actually the Goldbergs. I tested for that show like 5 times.
Yeah.
To get Adam. And then Sean Giambroni, who got Adam, he's such a good, he's the nicest guy in show business. The nicest person.
I've heard that. We've had some people from Goldbergs on, and they all say that.
There's really literally no one nicer than Sean Giambroni. And so I'm really glad he got the role. He's fantastic in the show. But like in the moment back then when it was right before Gordimer. It was like a week before Gordimer. And I almost got it, and they just kept saying, "We want to test you." "No, we don't like you." "No, we want to test you." "Nah, we don't want you." "Let's see it one more time." "Nah, we're good." Like, and it's nothing against them. I mean, obviously they're trying to pick the right person for the role, and I wasn't it, and that's okay. And I got something else, and so that's good, you know.
Yeah, that's terrific. Yeah, a lot of our friends at one time were child actors, and we talk a lot when we're hanging out about, you know, them struggling to find that second chapter in their life, whether it was in acting or some other part of showbiz or something completely different. It's difficult because a lot of times you get kind of pigeonholed. You know, you're remembered for a role that you did when you were young, and you can't.
I mean, yeah, if you get one that's iconic enough, you know. I mean,
yeah, and they can't see you in a different role, so it's really difficult. Or a lot of times, they struggle looking older. You know, it took them a really long time, and you talked a little bit about that.
Oh yeah,
get to that point
I can grow
look older.
I can grow a killer mustache. Now that's not saying it looks right on me.
I think that looks pretty good. Like when I was your age,
if I just had it, I just look like a baby with it. You know?
Yeah, I look like I had like the porn star mustache. That's all I could grow. You know, it looked ridiculous. So you're doing pretty good. I think you're doing pretty good.
Thank you. Appreciate it. If it's full, it's fine. But if it's anything less, it just looks
no. You got to have it full. No, I love the talk about, you know, the difficulties with acting because it's such a difficult job.
Well, that's people don't see it. You know,
that's right.
They think that you just show up and you get pampered and told.
No, the majority of actors are working second jobs.
Yeah, third jobs, fourth jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones that have families to feed, they got to do a lot more. You know, it is not glamour. I mean, like I said, if you're Robert Downey Jr., you've achieved a point in your life where you're making that much and you're able to give a lot to charity and you're able to live comfortably. I mean, it's like, that's obviously everybody's goal, but
tough to get there.
Such a small percentage is up there.
Yeah.
And so like, it is extremely difficult for a lot of people. I mean, you got to put in the work. And here's another thing now is like with technology, even when you finish the movie, you could still be taken out of it. Like, I mean, look at
I know that's not fair.
like, okay, like look at there's certain actors that obviously it was it was a good decision to take him out for reasons of, like, but look at Kevin Spacey in All the Money in the World.
Yeah.
Look at Chris D'Elia in Army of the Dead. Like, they
Right.
had completed filming and they totally reshot it. They reshot the scenes they
Right.
wanted to, and they just inserted them in what they didn't have to. And it's like, that is mind-boggling to me. I mean, what's next? Are we
Yeah.
just gonna totally remake original old movies with different actors doing the same lines inserted into the film? I mean, now with the facial reconstruction,
You
and all
can
that,
do
like,
it.
yeah, you could just be like, all right, I'm gonna be, Audrey Hepburn today. Like,
Yeah.
it's insane the technology we have. So it's like, now it's taken a step further where actors are even less secure in their job. Where
Yeah.
even when you're done, you may not have even done the job.
Yeah. I've even heard that they've talked about making new movies with stars like James Dean, people that have been dead for decades, and actually
Yeah,
being able to make new movies
I think
with them.
that's really wrong.
It's creepy.
I'm not a very, like, I'm not a controversial guy, but if I had to take a controversial stance, I would say that the CGI bringing people back from the dead is
Yeah.
incredibly insulting, and I think it's just wrong. Like,
Yeah. I agree.
You're desecrating the dead. I mean, you're like,
Yeah.
they're not there to be themselves.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know how that would work. I
I
mean, I
wouldn't
don't
want him to
know.
do it to me. I mean, I'd put it
No,
in my
I
damn
wouldn't want
will.
that either.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
don't do that.
I mean, does his relatives get paid for that, or is it just that seems wrong? That if
Probably,
they're
but even that
somebody
is
should
like,
make money, but
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
The whole process is a mess.
if you said in your, like, living state, if you were like, hey, it's okay for you to totally reconstruct my face and have someone else play me, I'd be like, all right, cool. Like, that was their choice. But
Yeah.
for the people that didn't even know that technology was possible,
Yeah, it
I mean,
seems
it would seem like absolute witchcraft to them. Like imagine telling James, like, going back in time and saying to James Dean, hey, someone's gonna be you in the future. It'll be you, but it's not you. You're gonna be gone. And then he'd be like, what?
What?
It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it's nuts. Hey, did I could be wrong about this one too, but did you have a little part in an episode of Modern Family?
I did.
Like
I would like to clear something up right now.
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so everyone gets this wrong because it's funny that I don't think you would have gotten it wrong, but everybody usually says that I had a role in Modern Family. I did not. I had a small background role in Modern Family for one episode, and people always say, like, "Oh, here's Sloane Morgan Siegel in Modern Family." I'm like, please don't say Modern Family.
I mean, because it was like Doug Olympics episode.
Yeah, the Doug Olympics. Yeah.
Doug
I was
Olympics.
just
And you're in the background. That's yeah. I thought so. That's like if I had a superpower, that's how worthless it would be. It would be just remembering tiny roles that people appeared in. It's like, because I recognize, the faces. I see
that's
faces.
fun, though.
Like,
that's really cool.
Seen them in something. And that's so I wasn't sure if that one was right because you were pretty young.
Oh, I was really young. I looked very different when I was younger.
Yeah.
But no, I was just a little background role, and it's so funny that so many people say all the time, they're like, "Oh, Sloane of Modern Family," and I'm like, "Oh my god!"
So you've been doing the new show that I don't. Is it finished up? Is Dwight in Shining Armor over now?
It is. All of season 5, which is the 5th and final season, fully aired. You can watch all of it now online. All 5 seasons. It's a really fun show. I mean, I think it really brings back that style of, Monty Python, like, walk in at any point and enjoy it. That's why I took the role. That's why I took this script. Is like, it wasn't only a good script, but it was like, it had a charm to it and a comedy to it. And the characters were so well written and the story was so bizarre that it was just speaking my language,
Yeah, and you got to write an episode, if I remember right.
I did. I wrote an episode with Caitlin Carmichael, who plays Greta on the show, who I've actually known for years, since I was 12 and she was 8. Like, we've known each other forever.
Yeah.
And anyway, so yeah, we wrote an episode and we took it to Brian and Leanne, the showrunners and creators and writers, And they were like, awesome, but we're going to change everything. So we'll give you a story credit. So they gave us a story credit, and they wrote an entirely different script. And but it was the same basic idea of what we came up with.
That's good. That's still cool.
It was really cool. It was awesome. I mean, I can't begin to describe the sense of giddiness I felt when I saw on the front page of a script story by and my name.
Yeah.
You know, because like I'm a writer at heart. Like I'll always be an actor, but like I love writing. And I remember the first time I ever wrote something, I was in kindergarten, and the teacher said, you know, write on this construction paper like a little story with crayons, and then make it like a book, and we'll staple it together. And we all had our books, and we got to read them to the class. And I remember the first story I wrote, because I was a crazy little kid, is I wrote a story called Morgan the Trapped Narwhal. And it was about this narwhal that got his tusk stuck in ice. And then he stuck it in the ice, and then the glacier fell on him, and then he was stuck. And so this owl was the snowy owl, because they're in the Arctic, flew by.
I would buy that. I'd read that story.
Right? But he was like, hey, man, what's wrong? He was like, I'm stuck. He's like, let me get you out.
Were you influenced by the narwhal in Elf?
Yeah. I was. I loved Elf. When growing up, Elf and Nightmare Before Christmas were the only Christmas movies I could stand. And Gremlins, I guess, if that counts.
Oh, Gremlins, that's a good one.
There's a big argument on if that.
I know whether or not it's a Christmas movie or not, but
yeah,
it's got a Christmas scene. I count it.
Yeah, right. It's got one Christmas scene. They're like, yeah, it's wintertime. You know, The Thing, a Christmas movie, Christmas special, The Thing with Kurt Russell.
So, are you writing scripts, or are you writing novels?
Novels and comic books, novels and graphic novels.
Oh my gosh, yeah, comic books. Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah. I've written my first novel, and now I'm in the revision phase. Like I'm getting an editor and figuring.
So what's the genre? You know, or can you give us a little bit?
Yeah, fantasy, and ooh, I guess psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the mind bending stuff. I like the stuff that challenges your ideas. I mean, my favorite writers are, you know, Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, Neil Gaiman. You know, like the people that took ideas from people's nightmares that they didn't even know they had and decided to show them to you. Like those are the stories that I love, the things that I never thought of before. And so I want to write stuff like that. I want to write something that someone didn't even know they dreamed about, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah. So you're in the process of getting the book a publisher.
Yes, and then I have my graphic novel. I'm just looking for an artist, and then as soon as
now that's a bit. You got to pick the right artist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's not easy either.
I'm not super picky as long as I get my first story made. You know what I mean? As long as I can have something to show. Because I have a bunch of stories that I've written and that I'll finish or that I have finished that I want to make. But I have the first one that I'm like, I just need to make it either way. You know?
So is it a superhero tale or is it something different?
No, it's actually I hate the word dystopian world because then you associate it with a lot of YA novels. And well, there's nothing wrong with YA novels. It's just not what I write. But it's just like world has fallen into, you know, climate disaster, fallen into another ice age. And so
true to life is what you're saying.
Yeah. And it follows like as if our civilization had totally faded and left Earth. And so, but the people that stayed behind in bunkers and stuff, generations and generations and generations later, who never fully recovered. And so they have devolved into somewhat sort of like caveman status.
Yeah, we're going backwards.
Tribal status. Yeah, going backwards. And then they come back. And so it's like, what now?
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
I like that. That's very unique. I like that. Yeah, you need to get that done. I would read that.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's other stories that are similar to that, but the way I'm telling it, I can promise you, is nothing like you've seen.
No, that's good.
Because like every story's been told to a certain point, but it's the unique perspective that I think matters. I think that's what a writer is the writer isn't necessarily the one creating the story unless they're creating something you've never heard of, but they are rearranging that sand into a sandcastle that you've never even fathomed could be possible. You know?
That's awesome. Well, and so in addition to the acting and to the writing, you're now doing voice acting for video games.
I am, which is a dream come true.
I got to tell you, you know, my son and I, huge Robin fans.
Really?
So yeah, oh yeah, Nightwing and Tim Drake that plays played Robin after Jason Todd and Nightwing or Dick Grayson. Big fans of that. So you're getting to play Tim
Tim was
Drake.
actually Robin after Jason.
Right. Yeah, it was Dick
Yeah, yeah.
Grayson, Jason Todd, and then Tim Drake.
Yeah.
Tim Drake, my son and I, we always say Tim Drake is the closest to the analytical detective side of Batman for Robin.
Oh, I would totally agree. He's the perfect Robin.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all the
Yeah. We
other-
always say that he's the best Robin. Like Dick Grayson, he becomes Nightwing.
Yeah,
Jason
he's
Todd is
Nightwing.
kind of
Yeah,
the
just like-
psycho, and then Tim Drake, he's actually the best Robin.
Because he becomes what what's even funny is in his name when he graduates, his graduated mantle is Red Robin.
Red Robin. Yeah.
And like he loves the mantle so much that's also what makes him the perfect Robin, is that even in his graduated state, he is still Robin. He's still the sidekick that his mentor created, that his idol decided for him. And so, but he sought after the mantle. I mean, he figured out who Nightwing was based off of a single acrobatic move.
Right.
He found where the Batcave was. He met Alfred, and then when he became Robin, he took it up as this golden opportunity to do something right with the natural gifts that he was given. And then anything he didn't know, he studied and he learned. And I think that's what I love about him, is I love his determination. I love his just drive to be the best hero he can be. You know, and that's why I think he's the perfect Robin.
Yeah. Oh no, agree. And that had to be like for me, that would be just what a day when you get that role.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. I didn't even think I was going to get it. When I was told what it was, I lost my mind. Because my sister's favorite character is like Robin as well, Tim Drake Robin. Awesome. And so like I was so excited when the reveal happened. She was like, who are you? And I was like, you'll know. But yeah, I was raised on this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm also like, I'm a writer at heart, so I love stories and I love characters. And Tim Drake is such a fascinating character. Right. And obviously, I'm not writing it. I'm doing what I'm given, but what I'm being given is fantastic, and I love doing it. And also, like, I play video games constantly, so I don't know. It's cool to see myself as a character I grew up with.
That's amazing.
And, like, it's fantastic, man.
Yeah, and so okay, you tell me if I'm wrong, because from what I understand, it's the new Gotham Knights game that's coming out.
Yes.
And in this one, Batman's been killed. Right, so it's you can play as the different Robins in the game.
And, you can play as a Nightwing, Red Hood, Batgirl, Robin.
Yeah, and so you get to play the Tim Drake Robin, or you're voicing that character. That's awesome. It's like a Night of Owls type of situation. I think is the storyline. Court of Owls. Hey, very good.
You see all the comics I have.
That's very good.
Like, whether I'm in the game or not, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's terrific. I was going to ask you if you had read Identity Crisis, which is one of my favorite stories that involves Tim Drake.
I have not read Identity Crisis.
That's one you should read because it's kind of a murder mystery, but it's
the one where? That's the one where he's searching for Bruce, right?
It is. It's there's a lot of superhero deaths in it, or people close to superheroes dying. So Tim Drake is trying to figure that one out. He's trying to figure out who's doing it, and it's got a very surprise. You should check.
I definitely got to check it out. Yeah, I'm always excited for new material. I can't believe I haven't checked that out.
Yeah. I think you'd like that one because it's got a good reveal at the end.
Okay, cool.
So it's a pretty good one. Yeah, that's how great is that? So was that a one-time thing, the voice acting, or do you plan to continue doing something?
I'd love to just do that forever. I mean, if I do this and I'm offered another, video game thing, or now I have an opportunity to audition for more video games or something, I totally will. It's really fun. It's a really great community as well. Everyone in this side of the industry of the video game realm is just really fun. They have a good time. And I think that, when you're on a set, you're rushing to get stunts in and you're rushing to get your camera lens changed and you got to do this and you're on a time schedule. You can only have this location for so long. And it's like, it provides so much pressure. But when you're just sitting in a booth or when you're in a big gray room with 1,000 cameras, everyone is just trying to make the best thing possible. And, the only pressures you have is just getting it right.
That's
and
right.
when you can focus on that, there's so much opportunity for fun and to be able to enjoy your job. Like, there have been shows I've been on where like I could have had a great time, but since everything around me was so stressful, it was so difficult to enjoy it in the moment. So I look back on it and I go, it could have been fun, but I'm glad I did it. But like this is like not a wasted second.
That's pretty awesome. And it also opens up playing Tim Drake in any of the cartoons. DC makes a ton of movies.
Would be cool. Or another character even. I could
another character.
Anything. I love DC. It's like I've been reading mainly DC. Those are all DC comics right there.
Are you a Titans fan?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
You mean the show or you mean the characters?
Well, like the comic. The Teen Titans comic.
I never really read the Teen Titans comic.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I never really liked the team. Like the team was never like one of my favorites. Right. I love the cartoon, the Teen Titans.
Oh yeah, the cartoon.
I grew up watching that. What a fantastic show. And so that made me love the characters, but I never really read the comics. No, I'm a huge Cyborg fan. He's one of my favorite characters ever. And so like I read pretty much everything he's in, but I never really read Teen Titans. No.
That's kind of it just dawned on me. You're the second Robin that I've talked to in the last week. So I had Sean Marr, who played the Doctor on Firefly, but he also voices Nightwing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Cool. So it just dawned on me. I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. I've talked to two different voices for Robin.
Hey, you got to talk to more, right?
That's right. I got to start. I need a Batgirl in there too.
We should do one with all the Robins and just call it the Court of Robins.
I love the panel interviews. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Like all the Robins that have never met each other, just have them all in one room, have them do a panel together.
I did this. It's a little off topic, but I did a panel interview with a group from the Doom Patrol show.
Oh, that's my two favorite comic adaptations are Doom Patrol and Daredevil.
Yeah.
They're just fantastic.
They're really good. Well, and that group, they were all playing different roles on the show, but most of them had never met each other. So when we did the panel interview,
wait, why?
Yeah, it was the first time they'd met each other.
Is it because like Brendan Fraser's in the robot suit the whole time, but it's not him in the suit?
Yeah, it's so it was. You had some that were playing kind of secondary roles. That it would be like we had Cyborg's dad. We had him on there, and then some of them were playing some of the different personalities. From Jane, she's
gotcha.
Some of them were playing that, but it just so happened that most of them had never been on set at the same time. So they just didn't. So it was kind of neat because they had all these kind of adjacent stories and they knew all the same people, but had never met each other. It was,
speaking of the guy that plays Silas Stone, I don't know his name. I'm sorry to say. He's really great as Silas. He's my favorite interpretation. And then also, Cyborg in that show is like done perfectly. I was so mesmerized by not only the performances of that arc, but just the writing of it alone was amazing. It's the same story you hear over and over again. Yeah. But it's done and it's executed perfectly,
Yeah. It's so good. Yeah, so Phil Morris is the guy that plays his dad.
Yeah, okay.
And he's a veteran actor, just terrific. So if you've ever watched Seinfeld, he plays lawyer Jackie Childs on Seinfeld. Hilarious. But he was terrific. He's been in a ton of stuff and just you can kind of tell like those guys that have been doing it for 30 years, they're just comfortable. It doesn't matter what they're doing, who they're talking to, they're just comfortable. And that's the way he was. It was really cool. I love talking the fan stuff with you. You're going to have to come back and just let us talk about nerdy stuff.
That'd be awesome, man. I mean, I love it.
What's your?
I certainly know a lot.
You corrected me on Court of Owls. That was awesome. That helps your nerd bona fides. What's your I know you're a D&D player. What's your favorite module?
Favorite module? I don't know. I mostly do homebrew stuff.
I like it.
So I don't really like. I'm too creative to not,
Yeah, that's great. So do you play more or DM more?
I play more. I play with my sister and her wife and their daughter and their friends. So
that's terrific. Is your sister older or younger?
Older.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
That's I guess she was growing up in West Virginia too.
No. She's 25 years older than me.
So she's much older.
Yeah. So she was in Baltimore. That's why I said.
Oh, right. Yeah, you said it. Yeah, Baltimore. Yeah.
But yeah, I play D&D with them, and I love it. It's awesome. A great way for me to keep in touch with them and stay connected and do something fun.
Well, do you play on do you play by Zoom or anything?
We used Roll20 for a while, and then we just started using Foundry. But Foundry has so many mechanics; it is overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So it's like Roll20 is like really simple, but Foundry's like there's more to do on it. It just that also means that there's more to mess up with.
That's right. It's a lot. It's quite a bit. Yeah. Well, that's terrific, Sloane. This has been the best. I'm so excited to talk to somebody with so much passion for what he does, and has a West Virginia connection. You can't beat that.
Thank you very much, man. There's something to be said about us being from where we're from. Of like, we're just laid back.
Yeah.
like we're chill. Like there's so many people that are like real. Like it's so serious all the time. It's also serious, and it's like, regardless of what your job is, if you're so serious about it, like, it's what are you doing?
Yeah,
so I'm really glad we could have such a good conversation about all this.
Yeah, you absolutely have to come back. We got to do it again.
All right, we'd love that, man. Thank you.
So before you go, is there anything that you have upcoming that we haven't touched on that we can kind of keep an eye out for you in?
Nope, just the writing and Gotham Knights.
That's pretty good.
Thanks.
That's not bad.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Okay, so where can we find you on social media?
You can find me just at Sloane Siegel on everything. So SLOANE SIEGEL.
Yeah, very good, very good. You want to give us a little bit of your Tim Drake voice?
I can't really right now. I was at my friend's house for the 4th, and I was around a cat. And while I love animals, I'm deathly allergic.
Me too. I got the same. Let me tell you a quick cat story. It's real quick. So when I first started going out with my wife, I took her, and we'd only been going out for a few weeks. I took her to a New Year's Eve party at one of my high school friends, and and I'm there, and I just like you, I'm just terrible with cats, and I started having problems, starting to wheeze, and my nose was running, and I'm like, what is going on? And I'm sitting on this couch, and after a few minutes, the biggest cat I've ever seen just came walking behind me on that couch, and it was getting bad. And I'm trying to impress this girl, and my eyes are swelling up, and I just started popping Benadryl, and within within about an hour, I was like, we got to go. It was only like 9:30. We were nowhere close to midnight. It's New Year's Eve party. So we went back to the house, my house, and I'd had like 6 Benadryl. I was asleep by like 10:15, and she watched the ball drop with me just snoring beside her. And for some reason, she stuck around. I still told her, I was like, you had your chance to leave. You blew it.
That's sweet, though.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, last question I have for you, is there a genre that you haven't done? We know it's not rom-com that you want to do. Not that you wouldn't do rom-com.
Pretty much every genre. I don't know. I'd love to do just action-packed. That'd be fun. Yeah. It's just like good, like straight-up action or psychological thriller. I haven't really done a lot of those. Well, I love the mind-bending stuff.
My understanding is that you may be writing your own stuff.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really much of a screenwriter.
Yeah, yeah. But you
But
know, book adaptation.
hey, but that's how I write the book, and then I'm like, hey, I'll sell you the
Hey,
rights if I play
I
the
could also.
character. Yeah.
Well, my understanding is you do most of your own stunts.
Oh yeah, most of them. I
Yes.
always try and learn them. Obviously, I let the stunt team do a run every time because, or I don't let them. They have to. But I'm never gonna be like, no, get stunts out of here. Like
Yeah.
I'm always, I work with them, and I'm very cooperative and collaborative. And so whenever there's a fight scene, I always learn the scene so that I can do
Yeah.
it. We always do a few takes with me, a few takes with my double. And so that's how I do it. I mean, I
Yeah,
love
you'll be
learning.
ready for the action movie.
Oh yeah, I've done pretty much all. But I think there's only 2 stunts I never actually did. I think one
That's
was
awesome.
like getting my leg swept out from under me or something, and like just air knocked out of me. And then another one was falling. The opening shot in Dwight, the
Oh
big
yeah.
fall. Yeah, I didn't do that. They wouldn't
No,
let me.
I would pass on that one too.
I know I asked to do it. They said no.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome though that you tried.
Oh yeah. I mean, I got to do a lot of cool stuff though. I've gotten to do a lot of cool fight scenes, a lot of cool falls. I usually just get hit with stuff and fall. Um, but yeah, I do a lot of cool stunts. I love working with stunts, man. I think my favorite day on a set ever was filming episode 302, Glimpse of Dwight.
Yeah.
We had 30 stuntmen and stuntwomen in this tavern, and we had 3
Wow.
days to film this episode. And a majority of the episode was this big tavern brawl. And these were Marvel stuntmen. I mean, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And because they're in Georgia and they worked on everything. That's everything. And so when it was so cool, they would all go together and they would pair up. They'd be like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. And they'd improvise their own little things, and then they'd come up with other stuff, and then with a big thing. And then obviously the actors and everybody else had their things to do. And we had a bunch of background in the scene as well. And they got to throw stuff at the stuntmen while the stunt performers were fighting and all that. I think my favorite part of the fight is the barmaid walks out from behind the bar and just clocks the biggest guy in the room, and he goes down, and it's so funny. But it's all in the spirit of comedy as well. But man, it was fun.
Yeah. That's so great. Well, Sloane, thank you so much. I'm so excited to see where you come or where you go next. You know what you're up to next, what you're into. West Virginia connection. So you got us on your team. We're rooting for you.
Thank you very much, man.
Well, hold on one second. I want to hit pause. So that was the talented Sloane Morgan Siegel. What a terrific young man. I so talented, so passionate. I love the enthusiasm. I mean, just terrific. If you haven't watched him in action, he's really a good actor. Got some range. He's really good. Dwight in Shining Armor. Gordimer Gibbons, Life on Normal Street. 2 really good shows that he has starred in, and of course he's going to be Tim Drake in the new Gotham Knights game. So keep an eye out for that, and I can't wait to see the book when he gets that done. Just a really fun interview, and the hour went by so fast. I had so much more I wanted to go over with him, but we'll just have to bring him back. It was a really fun interview. Thank you guys for tuning in again this week. Really appreciate that you keep coming back. If you haven't done so, please check out our YouTube channel, Meisterkhan Pod. Give us a subscription if you would. That would really help us out. And you can also check out the website, meisterkhan.com. We have 260 or so episodes on there, audio and video. There's a terrific blog from Brett. It's fun, it's well written, it's nerdy. You'll enjoy that. And you can also find out any shows or work that we're doing outside of the podcast will be on there as well. So until next time, thank you, everybody. Bye.